Ever find yourself navigating the silent halls of isolation, wondering how to turn solitude into your powerhouse of productivity and innovation? On the show today, I'll unveil the secrets to mastering efficiency while working alone and explore how the transformation of our workspaces can become the key to unlocking unparalleled productivity in the realm of isolation. Hi, I'm Mark, and this is the Mr. Productivity Podcast, the podcast that's all about solopreneur productivity, simplified and delivered weekly in bite-sized 30-minute or less episodes. Now, before we dig into the heart of today's episode, I have something special to share with you. Every month, I host a live masterclass aimed at helping you increase your productivity as a solopreneur. We've covered a wide range of topics so far, everything from gaining clarity in your work to effective daily habits, decluttering your workspace, maintaining health and wellness, and mastering time management. And we're just getting started. If you're looking to ramp up your productivity and achieve more as a solopreneur, these masterclasses are a treasure trove of insights and practical tools. Head on over to my website, mrproductivity.com/masterclass to sign up for the next live masterclass. Mr. is all spelled out, M-I-S-T-E-R. Learn from these interactive sessions, engage with a like-minded community, and transform the way you work. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to mrproductivity.com/masterclass and sign up now. All right, let's get started. Whether you've been working remotely, embarking on solo projects, or just finding yourself in situations where you're largely on your own, you've probably wondered or asked yourself, how can I stay motivated? How can I maintain or enhance my productivity without the immediate buzz of colleagues or the conventional office settings? Now, I remember when I first became a solopreneur back in July of 2005, I went from excitement, oh wow, to uh-oh. Yes, I had the freedom to do whatever I wanted to, but I was also 100% responsible for everything. Now, in the beginning, I felt so alone. And even now, sometimes I do feel alone. Now, this is a challenge that many of us face. And on the show today, I'm going to uncover the secrets, the strategies, and yes, even the struggles of thriving in such an environment such as this. So let's get started by talking about the rise of isolated work. So if you remember pre-2010s, this is just over 13 years ago, most people worked in an office usually from 9 to 5. I certainly did until July 2005 when I was fired. My last job involved me taking public transit for nearly 90 minutes to and from my job and then working 8 to 5. Now, why did I take transit? Well, for two reasons. Number one, I live in Houston, Texas, and the traffic is horrendous. And number two, that my employer gave me a free transit pass. So instead of me having to pay attention to other drivers on the road, I was able to sleep or read or listen to a podcast. So I didn't mind the 90-minute commute to a point. Now, working from home was largely limited to specific roles and industries and was not as widespread as it is today. Then we move on to the age of technological advancements and connectivity. The proliferation of broadband and faster mobile networks made digital communications seamless. Platforms like Slack, Google Meet, Zoom, and Trello began gaining traction, making remote teamwork more feasible. Then we enter the gig economy. Now, if you don't know, the gig economy is an economic system characterized by the prevalence of short-term contracts or freelance work as opposed to permanent jobs. Websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer open doors for independent contractors worldwide. The gig economy emphasized outcomes over hours, leading to more flexible work schedules. Then we have the changing employee expectations. with younger generations, especially millennials, those born between 1981 and 1996, and Gen Z, born between 1996 and 2012, entering the workforce, there was an increasing emphasis on work-life integration and flexibility. Employees began to value autonomy, and I had to look that word up just so I made sure I knew what it meant. That is the right or the condition of self-government, seeking roles that allowed them to shape their own schedules and work environments. Then there's the economic and global factors. Companies expanded operations internationally, necessitating teams that could work across different time zones and locations. And events like the 2008 financial crisis led some companies to adopt remote or flexible work to cut costs. Then we had the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this started, as you know, in early 2020, and it acted as a catalyst, forcing many companies to adopt remote work rapidly. Businesses started to reevaluate the necessity of a physical office, which they have to pay insurance on, leading to a more permanent shift toward hybrid or fully remote work models. And now we're in the post-pandemic realization of many businesses realizing that they could maintain or even enhance productivity with remote work, leading to a more lasting adoption. Co-working spaces grew in popularity, and home offices became a standard feature in residential designs. But it's all not what's that? The rainbows and unicorns? What's that saying? There are a lot of challenges when you are working in isolation. Just 3 of the psychological challenges: loneliness, the lack of external motivation, that's your colleagues you see in the hallway or in the break room, and distractions, delivery drivers, dogs, neighbors getting their roof replaced. And then you have the practical challenges of no direct oversight. Not everybody should be working from home, in my opinion. The lack of immediate feedback. I mean, your boss may not be readily accessible to you, and the potential for procrastination. However, there are some benefits for working isolated. Greater autonomy and flexibility. I love being a solopreneur. My wife and I go shopping on Friday mornings at 9 o'clock. Most people are at work, so there's nobody in the store. It's great. Then there's the personal growth opportunities, building self-discipline and resilience, and potential for deep work and increased creativity. It was really a tough struggle for me to be getting into deep work when I worked in a corporate environment, but at home, it's a lot easier for me, Mr. Productivity. So let's talk about some key strategies for staying productive in isolation. And when I say in isolation, I mean when you're working from home. Now, it all starts up with setting up a dedicated workspace. Now, understanding and implementing strategic environmental setups like a dedicated workspace is crucial to foster productivity, creativity, and well-being, especially when you're working in isolation like from home. Tailoring your environment not only paves the way for enhanced efficiency, but also contributes to establishing a balanced and health-conscious work-life integration. So creating an effective workspace at home is crucial, as I mentioned, for maintaining productivity and ensuring a healthy work-life balance. Here are some tips that you can put into practice in your life that'll help you be better at working in isolation. Number 1, dedicated a specific area for work. Choose a spot that is exclusively for work if you can, to create a clear boundary between professional and your personal life. Ensure that it is free from household distractions as much as possible. Now, one idea I use is a spare bedroom. The house I live in with my wife, we have 1 master bedroom and 2 spare bedrooms. 1 spare bedroom is my office where I also record the podcast. The other spare bedroom is my wife's office. Now, maybe you don't have that option. Well, there's also the option of a common room. Maybe you can use your kids' room when they're off at school. Maybe you set up a little desk in there. Maybe you work at your kitchen table if you can be free from distractions. Maybe you set up a desk in a corner of your living room, and that could be your workspace as well. Now, you need to invest in ergonomic furniture. Choose a chair that provides proper lumbar support to prevent back pain, and ensure your desk height is appropriate to maintain a comfortable posture. Also, consider a standing desk, or you can work at a bar, as I sometimes do. Now, this is not a bar like someplace you go to watch sports, have chicken wings, and drink. This is a bar. We have a bar in our house. We have an older style house. And if I stand up and I put my MacBook on there, it's the right height. So you don't have to go buy a standing desk. Maybe you can make it work with what you have. Optimize lighting. Utilize natural light as much as possible to reduce eye strain and enhance your mood. Consider investing in good quality adjustable lighting to ensure your workspace is well lit, even in the evenings. Don't go and get the least expensive, the cheapest lighting. Invest in your workspace. Organize and declutter. Huge thing to do. Keep your Keep your workspace tidy and organized to boost focus and efficiency. Use organizers, trays, and shelves to store necessary items and keep your clutter at bay. When you leave your workspace, like when I leave my home office, I will take anything that I no longer need. These could be cups, plates, silverware. I may be working when I'm on a call or something like that. Take it with you when you go out to the kitchen so you don't let them stack up, and then it becomes more clutterful. Incorporate personal touches into your home office space. Add elements like plants and artwork and personal items to make the space inviting and inspiring for you. Ensure the space reflects your personality and feels comfortable, feels like a place that you want to go to. Let's talk about tech. Ensure your computer, your internet connection, and other tech are reliable and meet your work needs. I have invested in gigabit internet. I've invested in a MacBook Pro. When I'm on a call with a client and we're having this great conversation in a coaching session, I don't want me to be freezing, tiling, looking like I'm broadcasting from Pluto. It's really important. Consider noise-canceling headphones, especially if your home environment can get noisy. This is not just talking about kids and pets. Again, I talked about this earlier in the show. Maybe your neighbor is having their roof replaced. Maybe your city is, jackhammering the street next to yours. Noise-canceling headphones can work with that. Maintain physical and digital hygiene. Regularly clean up your workspace to maintain a healthy environment, as I just mentioned, and organize your digital files and emails to foster digital well-being. Make sure if you're using Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever, that the folders are clearly indicated of what goes where. So I have on my Google Drive, I have got a podcast folder, and then there's subfolders for episodes 1 to 50, 51 to 100, 100 to 150, all the way up to 1250, which is this episode number. That's crazy to think about, by the way, that this is episode number 1250 of the Mr. Productivity Podcast. Number 8, create visual and auditory boundaries. Use room dividers or curtains if you need to create visual separation. This is if you are not working in the home office where you can actually close the door, or if you had little ones around, or you're in a corner of a room, or you're at the kitchen table. Set up ground rules with family members or housemates to minimize interruptions. If you tell them not to disturb you, except in the event of an emergency, make sure that your definition of an emergency is the same as theirs. Okay? Because little Bobby doesn't like what little Susie's doing. That may not be an emergency. You got to be very clear on this. Invest in air quality. This is something that I didn't even think about until recently. Consider plants that purify the air, or invest in an air purifier to maintain a fresh working environment. If you are working in an area of the world where you can open your windows and let the fresh air in, that'll be great, unless, of course, there's a lot of noise outside. Ensure ventilation is adequate to prevent stuffiness. So as I'm recording this episode right now, I'm in my spare bedroom. The window's closed, but I have my ceiling fan on because I like to have the air moving around. I don't like air that doesn't move. It drives me nuts. Number 10, designate a storage space. Ensure you have enough storage space for your work materials to avoid unnecessary clutter. So if you're not using it, it should be on a shelf or in a drawer. Make sense? Use storage solutions that complement your home decor to maintain the aesthetic appeal. Number 11, mindfulness corner. Allocate a small corner for quick meditation or mindfulness exercise during breaks. This could be a cozy chair with a soft throw or a small cushion in a quiet corner. Number 12, flexible work setup. If possible, create zones within your workspace for different tasks. For example, maybe you have one area for reading, another area where your computer desk is, another area where you take calls. Number 13, accessibility. Ensure all your frequently used items like stationery, notebooks, and chargers are within arm's reach to maintain your workflow. The last thing you want to do is to be in a workflow and go, oh, where's my pen? Oh, where's my notebook? Oh, where's my journal? Then it interrupts the flow. Utilize wall-mounted shelves and storage units to optimize space utilization. Now, each of our optimal workspace is going to look different, but these tips will help you curate a home workspace that encourages productivity, comfort, and a healthy work-life balance. It's about creating an environment that fosters focus while also ensuring physical and mental well-being. Now, let's talk about structuring your day when you're working in isolation. Time blocking and task prioritization is key. Don't live your day reactively. Take the time, I recommend, at the end of every day or the morning of, to think about your day. Think about, what do you have to do? What is already on your schedule? Where are the blank spots on your calendar? What are you going to fill them with? Think about this proactively. And if you are going to create a podcast, schedule time to plan the podcast, create your show notes, create the podcast. If you're going to make, sales calls, put that on your calendar. If you want time to read, put that on your calendar. One thing I've been doing, I'm a big fan of listing my big three every day. Every day I write down, what are 3 things I need to do today for, at the end of the day, for me to go, man, I had a great day today. Don't hope it's going to happen. Hope is not a strategy, but you know what it is? Time blocking and task prioritization. Then we have the Pomodoro technique. I get a lot of questions about this on social media and people emailing me or seeing me out in public. The traditional Pomodoro technique says, work for 25 minutes, fully focused, not working on a blog post while you're surfing Facebook. I mean, fully focused. At the end of 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. You do this 3 or 4 times, then you take a longer break. But there are no Pomodoro technique police. So maybe 25-5 doesn't work for you. Maybe 52-17 works for you, or 45-15, or maybe 90-15. Find out what Pomodoro technique will work for you and then use it. And then don't forget to take breaks. And when I say breaks, I don't just mean go outside and breathe some fresh air, although that's good. I don't just mean taking a walk. Maybe you just go watch some funny videos on YouTube that make you laugh, but you don't have to think about. That's really important. I want you to pay particular attention to using technology wisely. There are a lot of tools and apps out there to boost your productivity. I cannot possibly create an episode of the show that'll list every single one of them. This will be longer than the longest Joe Rogan podcast. But I have 3 ideas for you. Number 1, consider instrumental or focus music or ambient sounds like waterfalls, thunderstorms, crickets, water dripping. I'm a subscriber to Apple Music, and so I can tell who to play focus music, and she'll just play focus music. Or I'll say, play thunderstorms, and she'll play thunderstorms. That is one idea. Another idea I already mentioned, noise-canceling headphones. And a third one is a notepad. This is really important. Have you ever been in the flow and you're really into your work. And all of a sudden, an idea pops in your head. Like, oh, yeah. And most of us, what we do is, oh, I'm going to go check that on Facebook or on Wikipedia, or I'm going to Google that. And all of a sudden, you've broken the flow. Have a notepad next to where you're working. And as you're in flow and an idea pops in your head, pick up your pen, write down just enough on the notepad so you won't forget the idea, and then keep on going. 3 simple tools that'll help you maintain your focus as you're working in isolation. Avoid the digital distractions. How? Lots of different ideas. Thank you to technology. There's DND or focus mode. Now, I'm an iPhone guy, so DND shuts off all distractions. I don't like that because I like some notifications get through. So I'm an intentional notifications guy. Some notifications serve me. But I have one particular focus mode called going live. Now, whenever I go live on Facebook or Instagram, I will use the focus mode going live. And on going live, nothing gets through. I mean, nothing. So see if your phone, they all have DND, do not disturb. See if your phone has focus mode. If you have an iPhone, iOS 15 or later, you do. I don't know about Android. I don't use Android. You can also mute your phone, but please disable vibration mode. I haven't had vibration mode on my phone in probably, 6 or 7 years. You can also use airplane mode, but if you're connected to Wi-Fi on airplane mode, you'll still get notifications. A lot of people don't think about that. Or you can turn off your device. Amazing. You turn off your device, I promise you it won't bother you. Now let's talk about setting boundaries, differentiating work time from personal time. The biggest tip I have for you here is to create office hours. But don't just create office hours, post them for you and for others in your home. Stick to your office hours and communicate your work hours to not only your family and friends, but also your clients. If you go into focus mode Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I want you to tell people, hey, I am not accessible between these 2 hours during the week. Let them know. Don't let them try to get a hold of you and they hear crickets. Be proactive. Let them know. Now, make sure you're staying connected as you work in isolation, as you work from home. You can do virtual co-working sessions. You can do regular check-ins with colleagues or accountability partners. I have several accountability partners. We don't charge each other for this call. What we do is we hop on a Google Meet and we just share what's going on, where we're struggling. So consider regular check-ins with people, because if you're working for isolation, you could fool yourself. You could tell yourself stories. I'm doing great. And you're really not. Okay. And then consider joining online communities related to your work. Now, prioritizing self-care is also critical, especially when you're working from home. The connection between well-being and productivity is real. Happy people tend to be productive people. So make self-care priority for you. You can incorporate exercise. I've been running at least 1 mile every single day since August 29, 2017. I also walk every day, but you can also lift weights, go on a bike ride, swim, exercise every day. When I say exercise, I mean elevate your heart rate so you break out in a small sweat. If you have not done this in a while, please see your doctor first. You can practice meditation or just be quiet. Or check this out. You can combine the two. You can go for a walk in nature and don't be on your device. Just be quiet. It's amazing. Don't forget to celebrate the small wins, okay? Recognize and reward your progress at the end of each day, every day, 7 days a week. Journal about at least 3 wins you had that day. Size doesn't matter. And by the way, you'll have way more small wins than big wins. And if you have trouble thinking about your small wins, you have 3 small wins. So sometimes when I'm stuck, let's say I have a bad day. Well, guess what? I woke up before the sun today. There's a win. I ran today. There's a win. I walked 10,000 steps. There's a win. You have at least 3 wins every day. Don't just think about them. Write them down. And more importantly, share your wins with other people or post about them online. Just don't sound braggadocious. Now, here are some common mistakes to avoid when you're working in isolation, when you're working from home. Avoid overworking and burning out. Notice when you are beginning to feel like you're overworking or you're burning out, and stop. Even if you walk outside and take a 10-minute break, maybe you take the rest of the day off, recognize the signs. Don't neglect breaks and leisure time. Back in 1980, there was a film called The Shining, and one of the classic lines from the film was, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." Now, Jack got kind of crazy and he started killing people. So if you've never seen or heard the film, you don't have to go watch it. Just understand that if you're doing a lot of work and you're not playing a lot, I'm not saying you'll become a murderer, but maybe you will. Maybe you'll make people around you, your family, your friends, not want to spend time with you. We don't want that to happen. Life cannot always be about working, nor can it be always about having fun. You got to find your balance. There's a lot of talk about work-life balance. You got to find your balance, what works for you. Remember, isolating oneself, that's you. A lack of social interaction is not a good thing. If you're always alone like a hermit, that's not a good thing. So how can you avoid this? Well, here's what I do. I have people, as I mentioned earlier, that I reach out to a couple times a month, usually every other week, and we just have a one-on-one video call. We celebrate each other's big and small wins. We tell each other what we've won from what we've learned from books or videos we've seen. Then there's daily DMs or text messages. I'll just reach out to someone. I like doing video messages. So I love Snapchat. If you're following me on Snapchat, I'll send you a video message. Or if you're on WhatsApp or iMessage, I'll just send you a video message. To me, it's more personal. Just saying, hey, just thought about you, just seeing how you're doing. And a lot of people like this. That's something I do. I also will talk to my wife, who's also my business partner. So technically, I'm no longer a solopreneur, but I'm going to call myself that because I love solopreneurs. Or maybe to neighbors. If I'm outside taking a break, let my dog outside, taking my dog for a walk, and I'll sit there and talk to a neighbor. You got to have the social interaction. It's really important. So here's my encouragement to you as we wrap up the episode today. I want you to try out some of these strategies, but I don't want you to try out more than one, because what happens is you're like, oh my gosh, Mark gave me so many great ideas. One. The power of one. Pick one idea that I shared with you on the show today and then go implement it. And then come back and try another one. Don't get overwhelmed by trying to do too many things. That's the single biggest thing people struggle with when they listen to my show or they look at my stuff on social media or hear me from the stage. Okay? Now, I want to know what tips you have for working in isolation. If you work from home, whether you're a solopreneur or you work for the corporate world and you work from home, what tips do you have? Find me on social media and share them with me. Now, on Facebook and on Instagram, Mr. Productivity, really easy. Just remember, spell out M-I-S-T-E-R, Mr. Productivity. If you want to find me on X, formerly known as Twitter or LinkedIn, I'm Mark Struczewski, and you're like, huh? Mark Struczewski, don't worry about it. Okay, just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. The reason why I'm not Mr. Productivity on X is it's not enough characters. That's the only reason why. I need a couple more characters. Elon has not replied to my posts. They're not called tweets anymore. They're called posts, but I'm working on it. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. If you found value in this podcast, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Please leave a review. And I'm going to ask you a third thing. You're never supposed to ask people to do a lot of things at the end of the show. So if you're a regular podcaster and you're listening to my show, you're like, oh, Mark, don't say so many things. If you would share this episode with 2 or 3 of your friends, I would be forever grateful, and your friends would be as well. Head on over to MrProductivity.com. There's the 5th thing I just gave you to do. I gave you a lot of homework today. M-I-S-T-E-R, MrProductivity.com. You can find out everything you want to know about me, my live masterclass, my blog, my coaching. It's all there. So I apologize for giving you so much to think about, but you don't have to do them all. I mean, maybe you already follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn, so you can ignore that. Maybe you've already subscribed, rated, and reviewed the podcast, so you can forget about that. And instead, just share this episode or head on over to MrProductivity.com. I thank you so much for your time and attention. I really mean that. I just don't say that because it's cliche. I really mean it. You could have listened to any other podcast, but if you listen all the way to the end, I am most thankful. And until we meet again, my friend, which will be really soon, stay productive, but most importantly, stay positive.